And away we go. It is the Nightcap, brought to you by Hail Mary Sports Bar right here on BearcatJournal.com. Go see our good friends at Hail Mary's. They're located in Cheviot. They're on Harrison Avenue, right inside the Dora District, so you can go from bar to bar with your drinks. But no need for that. You can just hang out at Hail Mary's. They've got 27 TVs, 9-screen video wall. They have the DirecTV Sports package, so you can watch all the games, and Cincinnati sports will always be on the video wall. They have brand new draft lines, brand new walk-in cooler, and of course, ice cold Cincy Light and 32.8 degree frosted glasses. All right, Aaron, we'll keep it rolling with our position previews as we near the start of camp. It's Kelsey's birthday weekend, so I probably won't be available Friday and Saturday. Kelsey's birthday is tomorrow, party on Saturday. So going to be a busy weekend. We'll be back on Sunday, of course, but figured we might as well keep this ball rolling and take a look at the cornerback position, which for me is one of the most critical spots on this defense. The one thing, if you're trying to get to the quarterback and you maybe don't have that like star edge rushing defensive lineman, you make the quarterback hold on to the ball a little bit longer. And if you do that, that gives your defensive lineman a little bit more time to get home. And cornerback has not been a strength for the Cincinnati Bearcats since Kobe and Sauce headed off to the NFL. It is at times been okay, at times been pretty rough. And this, Aaron, is one of the critical pieces of this operation for 2025.
Well, we talked last night about a revamped wide receiver room, and I think you can make an argument that this room is nearly as revamped, if not more so, as you start right at the very top. Eddie Hicks being a new coach here at Cincinnati this season. A little familiarity from him, but with the program, but he comes in to lead this room, which the guys at the top of the roster fighting for 1A, 1B in Matthew McDoom and Logan Wilson, neither played this position for the Cincinnati Bearcats last season. Logan Wilson moving out of the safety room into the cornerbacks room. He's not the only one, along with Kai Stokes as well. We'll get to him in a little bit. But, the top had to get better. Simply put, you've been struggling for the entirety of Scott Satterfield's tenure here at corner, and these two guys, I think, make that room definitively better. Matthew McDoom graded, according to PFF, top 5 returning Big 12 defense, but not returning. I understand he does make the transfer in from Coastal Carolina. I thought it was weird that they labeled it returning, as he did not play for the Big 12 last season. But that's the graphic they released, and he was graded right around 80, if I'm not mistaken, off the top of my head. But you would think it's still going to translate. I would hope. And I think they're putting a lot in that hope as well, as he competes for that spot. You can't erase speed, and that's something that he has in spades. And same can be said for Logan Wilson. I was impressed with Logan Wilson when I saw him at the spring game. I enjoyed talking to him when we had him on for 513 Day. He's a fun dude, and by all counts, anytime we've talked to Eddie Hicks, Nico, he's always been mentioned glowingly. So the top of that room, I think, is stacking up pretty nicely at this point.
The question is going to be, who's number one? I think we all went into the spring thinking McDoom was like kind of the, I don't want to say runaway favorite, but kind of the leader in the clubhouse when it came to who would be CB1. I think through the spring, Logan Wilson made a case. Like, he made a claim for that spot. So I think, it's going to be interesting to see where those guys are lining up throughout the spring, and who emerges, who's able to kind of, jump up and grab the brass ring at that spot.
Yeah. And once you get past that, when you're looking at, slot I think Ormani Arnold probably is going to be the slot guy at this point, but I
There's
don't know.
not really a slot guy. Like this defense doesn't. They play with three safeties. Like
Right?
you can't do both. Like
You're running,
not
yeah, you're
many
running
teams are
one
going
or
to
the
play
other.
with 6 DBs. So you either get 3 safeties or 3 corners. That's what makes it a little bit interesting in terms of numbers, because there's not it felt like under the old regime, or under the old stot system, boy, there was a lot of corners on the roster, and it doesn't feel like there's a ton of corners. Like there's
Mm-mm.
6 or 7, but when you had 3 spots, if you only had 6, like you were really thin. If you're only
Sure.
running 2 corners and you got 6, you got a 3 deep, you feel pretty good about it.
Yeah, and we got guys that we haven't even mentioned at this point. Kai Stokes, though, we got his first glimpse at cornerback in the spring. And what were your impressions as far as Kai Stokes goes?
Um I I think he needs more time to learn the position,
Sure.
but he has the things that you can't learn, Aaron. He's long,
Speed,
he's
height.
tall, he's
Yep.
fast. So, I mean, those 3 things make him a guy that can help you there. In terms of technique and footwork, and the things that Eddie Hicks talked about when we had him on 513 day, talking about, was it 513 day, or was that
No,
just
that was you and
podcast?
you and Dave had him on.
That's me and Dave. Okay. It all blends. The off season
I
all
get it.
blends together here. So it's a matter of, can they get him into that like comfort zone where he can make plays on the ball, and he can be good in space, and not going to get beat by double moves, or the finer points of being an every down cornerback, but physically everything is there for Kai Stokes.
Well, between Logan Wilson, Kai Stokes, and Ormani Arnold, those are the 3 guys in the room that have at least played in the system before. 2 of those guys obviously being at safety last season. But Ormani Arnold, he's been raved about as being incredibly smart, and that should be just another feather in your cap, things that you can't teach. So outside of that, though, you got some guys who were freshmen just a season ago in Gravy Johnson, in Daniel James.
Really good one.
Really good one as well. So you got some guys who are trying to at least crack the 2 deep.
I think it's important that at least one of these guys makes a move. They were all very high on all 3 of these guys. I think James is probably the most far along in terms of the technique, and the experience, and the ability to defend at this level. But boy, Gravy Johnson has all of the physical attributes that you're looking for. He's just got to continue fine-tuning some of that stuff. And I know they like the physicality of Willie Goodwin. They like, his athleticism. So we'll see. Out of those 3 guys, and they're all 3 talented enough to make a move. But I think you need at least one of them to kind of jump up and be a guy you can look at as, that guy's got next. Like, that guy's gonna be, when we're at this point next year going into camp, we're talking about one of them as a starting corner. So what you don't want to have to do, Aaron, is every year you're in the portal looking for starting corners, because it's a premium position. Like, there might be a bunch of them out there, but how many of them can actually play and be a number 1 starter? Because guess what? As a premium position, Aaron, teams don't want to let those guys go. So there's not going to be a lot of really, really good ones that you see just kind of floating around in every offseason. So finding them is a challenge. That's why you really need to hit on 1 or 2 of those 3 guys so that you kind of keep the ball moving and you can start getting to a point where the portal's a luxury, not a necessity, right? If you're rolling into next year and you feel confident one of those guys is at least going to be your number 2, then you're not scrambling in the portal to fix cornerback. You're saying, okay, maybe we need to go get a 1, or maybe we need to add a guy, but we don't have to add 2 or 3 and flip a room every year.
Well, you're also hoping that you don't have to continue to pick out of the safety room as well of guys that aren't going to see the field at safety, or
they're just what they've got 100 safeties. Like, they had to do something with a couple of them.
Right. I guess what I'm saying is you don't want to find yourself in that position where you're relying on that every season or anything like that. So, I agree that the development of these 3 guys is pretty critical this season, and something that should certainly be kept an eye on through camp and through practices, even as the season gets going.
One of the things to remember, though, also on that front is they built that safety room last year before Tyson Veit got the job.
Right.
So there were guys that maybe didn't fit the 3 safety look. And then you look, okay, can we move them to corner? Do we have any that are big enough to move to linebacker? They really didn't. But there's still a crap ton of dudes in the safety room. You had to find something to do with a couple of them.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see what Eddie Hicks does. I mean, when we had him on, the biggest thing that he talked about, because this room has lacked desperately in interceptions, but they don't call them interceptions; they call them takeaways. And look, we did not enjoy the coverage style, I guess, that Kerry Combs. Most fans did not enjoy the guys not turning around, not having the head on a swivel, not knowing where the ball was at all times.
I mean, I've explained that to an extent. Like, when you're not good, the last thing you want is a guy that's not a great corner turning his head and losing the guy.
However,
you need better talent.
Well, with an improved room, which is where we like to think things have gone this season, we're all hopeful that takeaways become a thing that we're all talking about.
Yeah. I think that was, again, and some of that's on the previous cornerback coach as well, for not having that room necessarily where it needed to be. But, guys that like Sauce has got the ability to stick to a guy so he can turn his head and get a little look, because that guy's not going anywhere. He's on him. Boy, if you're not good and you're trying to turn and look, next thing you know, that guy's got,
you're not on his hip
of
anymore.
Separation on you. Yeah. And now he's running down the sideline for a touchdown because you got hot. You thought you were hot shit and you were going to turn your head and intercept the ball.
I feel like we saw plenty of that 2 seasons ago.
Yeah. Hopefully that is a thing of the past. But there is some rhyme or reason as to why that's a thing in college football. And it's usually because we don't have good DBs.
Well, that goes back to this room's got to be better, and I think that they feel. I think the staff feels like this room is certainly better with all the changes that they've made since last season. Something for the fans to certainly put some hope into. I don't know. Trust is quite there yet, but at least hope can be a thing.
Yeah, but it's like wide receiver that we talked about yesterday. Better is fine. How much better? Like, this much better is better, but it doesn't help a whole lot, right? Like, this much better, and now you're cooking with gas instead of unlit charcoal.
I'd love to see a corner in this room emerge with 5 picks. That'd be monster for a team that I think had how many did they have the entire season last year? 5 total.
It was like 4 or 5 maybe total. It wasn't many. It was bad. So back-to-back nights, 2 groups that if the Cincinnati Bearcats are going to have success in 2025, both of them need to show improvement, and substantial improvement, not just we're a little bit better than we were last year. That's not going to get the job done. Matthew McDoom, Logan Wilson, you're on the clock. That's going to wrap it up. We'll see you on Sunday. That's the Nightcap, brought to you by Hail Mary Sports Bar, right here on BearcatJournal.com.
See ya!